Hello. Today I'd like to talk about what could be a touchy subject. They say when you meet new friends, never talk about politics or religion. My two favorite subjects, by the way. And I want to talk about religion. My faith tradition is Roman Catholic. That's what my family is. Italians, basically, we're all Catholic. And some of us went to church and some of us did not, but we all were Catholics. When I was 7 years old, I went to a grammar school that was public. It was not a Catholic school. My parents couldn't afford that. And we would have what was called release time. We would leave in the middle of the day for 1 hour. Our parents had to approve it and do the forms and everything, and we'd go to a nearby house, usually in a garage, and we would have lessons. There'd be a sister that would teach us certain lessons every day, every Tuesday for about 3 months. At the age of 7 is when a Catholic would receive their first Holy Communion. And I really bought into everything in the Catholic Church. I really loved it. I could have been a spokesperson, even at the age of 7. And I went home, and the very next day after I had my first Holy Communion, I told my mom, I want us to go to church. And I kind of surprised her. It was at dinner time. My dad was there, my mom, my two older brothers, and I said, I want us to go to church every Sunday. And everybody stopped eating. Really? And my mom thought, yeah, Jack is right. Let's all go to church. And so my entire family went to church, Catholic church, every Sunday. I started that. As I realized that I was gay, and I realized all along what the church was saying about homosexuality, that it was bad, a sin, immoral, that I'd go to hell, I joined a group that called Dignity, which was a gay and lesbian Catholic organization. It was supposed to help enlighten the church and to open up the church teaching to be kinder to gay and lesbian people, to be accepting. And I worked in Dignity probably, I think, about 7 years. And in that time, we would have home masses, because if we went to the church for Mass, I can remember going to a church in the city of Lakewood, and the priest who gave the homily, which is a lecture, we call it the homily, talked in a despicable way about gays and lesbians. And from the pulpit, he was saying, these queers, these sinners, these people are so immoral and all this stuff. I got up and walked out. Nobody walks out in a church like that, but I got up and walked out. And I wrote a letter to the Archbishop of Los Angeles, Roger Mahoney. And I told him what I thought, what I heard, and who the priest was. And he wrote me back, and the priest called me and apologized to me. Obviously, the bishop made him do that, but he said that he was sorry, he didn't mean it, and so on, But so many people in the Catholic Church will go to confession or talk to a priest on the side, and they get some very archaic ideas about sexuality, about masturbation, about using condoms, about all kinds of things that are just really old-fashioned and out of place. They don't make any sense anymore. And I met with the Archbishop a couple times. He later became Cardinal, but when I knew him, he was Archbishop. And the different people in our Dignity group met with him. We met with the Bishop of Orange. He was very turned off by gay people talking to him. He actually stood up, turned his back on the group, and we left. That's the way he ended the conversation. But Roger Mahoney was a little bit more understanding and caring. And some of the priests who said Mass for us, and by Mass I mean we had home Masses. Dignity would meet at my house about once a month on Sunday and have a home Mass, usually followed by a potluck dinner. The social event was as important as the Mass was. It really was. For gay and lesbian people to come together, meet each other, see each other, talk, do activities together was really, really important. And so they met at my house about once a week, and then at other houses the other Sundays of the month. And usually followed by a potluck dinner, or maybe went out to a restaurant together. It was very nice. In addition to the home Masses, we would go on occasion to a church. And it might be a Unitarian church, it might be like a chapel, and we would have what's called a family Mass or a private Mass. And we would have about, I would say, 8 different priests that said Mass for us, and they kind of rotated. And they're all, of course, gay-friendly. Otherwise, they wouldn't do it. The Archbishop stopped us from using the churches anymore because people had complained and thought that was inappropriate to feature, to have a Mass for gay and lesbian people. That isn't right. They should be in the Mass with everybody else. But there was a lot of difficulty in gay people, lesbian people going to a regular church and being talked down to. That was not very nice. It was very unloving. So after the Archbishop denied us the use of private Masses on church property, we thought, well, okay, we have the home Masses, we have our priests, and we'll just do it the way, just focus on the home Masses, we'll do it that way. In Dignity, I actually received the phone calls. I was the information officer. And people would call and say, I heard about your group. You're a gay, lesbian, Catholic group. Can I join? And this and that. And part of my job was to talk people into staying in the church. And I just no longer bought into that. I didn't think the church was good for most gay and lesbian people. About a year later, the Archbishop said, no Catholic priest can say Masses for Dignity, period. So there went our home Masses. And at that point, I thought, this isn't getting anywhere. I spent 6-7 years in Dignity, trying to make some progress. But the structure of the church is very, very archaic. I went from being a very strong Roman Catholic as a kid and as a teenager and a young adult. But then the gay issue didn't make any sense. I was going to a church that was saying I was a sinner. And I didn't think that was true. I didn't think that masturbation was a sin. I didn't think that sex between the same gender was a sin. It just didn't make any sense. It was, a friend of mine said, poor psychology is poor theology. Theology should not be an affront to modern psychology. So I stopped going to church. I became a recovering Catholic, and I no longer believed in the teachings of the church. But I don't want to pass judgment on what other people believe, and the church or some other religion might be good for them. I'm expressing my own personal view and how I had my own reformation about religion. But I am no longer a Catholic, and that's pretty good for me. I remember the day when I came to that definite decision, I'm not a Catholic. It was like a weight was lifted off of my shoulder because I was trying to comply with rules I didn't believe in and rules I thought didn't make any sense. And they were certainly creating a poor self-image in me, but in everybody else too, and many people. They're a poor self-image, and I just wasn't going to buy into it any longer. So I expand my understanding of theology to include the universe, to include nature, to feel one with nature. And when I meditate, I think about nature. Thank you for watching.